So let's go ahead and move into my main topic then.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about how to shop for an acoustic guitar.
Okay.
I think we've talked about electrics and kind of looking for electrics a little bit, but I don't think we've ever really touched on shopping for acoustic
I
guitars
don't think so either.
and what we're looking for. So it's also kind of a use case too. So depending on what you're going to use it for is going to kind of depict what acoustic you're looking for and what you're looking out of an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm walking into a store, like what's the things I'm looking for an acoustic guitar? So do you want to go ahead and start on some of this, or do you want me to start? Because I'm kind of curious on your thought process of when you're looking for an acoustic guitar, the things that you're looking for. But
It totally depends on, I feel like, the body shape of the guitar.
Yeah.
If you're going for a parlor size, if you're going for like orchestral, if you're going for a dreadnought, I think it really depends on it. The tricky thing with acoustics is that most of the rooms that the acoustics are in, the rooms are meant to sound big.
yeah,
So it's really misleading. Like, I almost want to go to a dead room and listen to the guitar that way.
yeah, I love to take an acoustic, especially you go to like a guitar center, you go somewhere and it's just a room that's solid wood, it's got all this different stuff in there. I love to pull those guitars out of there.
Right. To me, that is super important, not having it around those like really ambient types of rooms. Um, but I do want to say, like, it really depends on body shape and the feel of the guitar. I feel like it can be really easy for us to say, okay, this plays great. Okay, I know this is the sound I'm going for, but is this the acoustic that's for me? Resonance obviously is going to be important for an acoustic. I think you cannot understate like how the strings feel in reference to the fretboard. That's a really big one, and the neck shape. You can go, kind of put your hand on the back of the neck of an acoustic, similar to an electric, and if that neck does not work for you, then you can keep moving.
Yeah.
I think we have to like take it back to the basics. Does the neck work? Do the strings to the fretboard work in the string spacing? And then from there, let's take it out of that room that sounds so huge.
Yeah.
And does it inspire me in those dead rooms?
And when you say work, you don't mean function. You mean work for you and how you look.
Right. Like, what inspires me to play?
Yeah.
If I am playing a guitar, especially an acoustic, because it's hard to do with an acoustic versus an electric, and it inspires me and I truly like play for 20 minutes and don't think about what I'm playing, then that's a great guitar. That's kind of my bar. Like, if I am able to pick up a guitar and it inspires me for 15, 20 minutes and I, in passing time, don't think about it, that's a great guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to give a generic kind of answer for this, but anytime I pick up an acoustic guitar, I almost, as soon as I grab it off there, you can kind of feel, obviously, the neck and the strings and everything, and if you like that, and if it passes that test, by the time I've sat down with it, just the moving it and stuff, you can almost feel like, is this thing really resonant? Does it have a lot of resonance and body to it, even before you start plucking on these strings? Like, there's just like a sense of it. You gotta consider strings, right? Strings are a whole thing too. If the strings are completely dead on an acoustic guitar,
It's hard to make a good judge call.
it's hard to make a good judgment. It's something sometimes you can say, hey, I'm really interested in this guitar, and talk to the shop and be like, can you throw a new set of strings on here? Because I think I would like this, but these strings are just shot.
Right.
So that's always a good option. I usually start off and we've all kind of got our standard shtick of things we play whenever we're trying an instrument out or whenever we're testing to listen to sounds. And it's not a bad thing to have a shtick like that, but because then you've got a reference point for different guitars. But I start playing a couple of those things, and like you said, if it leads me in a direction where I didn't expect to go, and it inspires me to start playing, and I look at my watch and I'm like, holy cow, it has been 20 minutes. That's a great sign.
Right.
If I'm picking something for the bedroom, maybe I pick something. You've got a GS Mini, which is a great acoustic guitar for the money and just a great acoustic guitar in general for plugging in live sound, something smaller to pack around, but also it's a great couch setter.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to beat a GS Mini for its size and things. You probably shouldn't buy a D35 if you're going to be sitting on the couch plucking all the time.
Right.
Not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's probably not the most comfortable. And if you're playing something like a couch setter, you want something that's light and small that you can kind of throw around. Maybe not worry about because it's going to get bumped into set in the living room. And also something that, man, when you sit on the couch or a chair with arms, playing a guitar is a pain in the butt
It
sometimes.
is.
You got to play it like way up here, or maybe you got
Or
to
be on
sit
the
real
edge, yeah.
forward. And finding an acoustic guitar that you can be comfortable with in that scenario is one thing. If you're going to be playing live, think about the pickups and take a look and see, is it active electronics? Is it passive? What kind of pickups are in there? And then if you're a bluegrass guy, like, is this thing going to be a cannon?
Right.
Those guys need a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're playing in a bluegrass circle at a convention or something, or a festival, you need something to get above the mix, of 30 acoustic guitars and maybe a banjo or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think if you go in and are comfortable with the neck and it plays well and you feel like it's resonating well, and then after that, I'm just looking for my sound. Is it a Gibson sound I'm looking for? Is it a small parlor sound, kind of mid-rangey, kind of blues? What's that Kebmo model?
Right. The
You know,
Blues King.
yeah, the Blues King. Am I looking for something like that, or am I looking more for like a Martin kind of sound?
I think, yeah, there's something that we forgot to touch on is before you go into the store, you should have a rough idea on the type of guitar you're going for.
Yes.
There's a huge difference in jumbo, dreadnought, parlor. There's a huge difference on what you're trying to achieve. If this is a take it to the gig, play, for 20 people in a coffee shop, maybe you want a parlor singer-songwriter guitar, a little smaller body. You can go parlor orchestral or something like that. But if you're going for like the Canon thing, you're gonna want that dreadnought. If you're going for, I just want a guitar that that can kind of fill the space, and there's another guitar player, but I just want to be the solid ground. Maybe you're looking at a jumbo. It just kind of depends on kind of what needs you have,
Yeah.
but really what you're inspired by too.
Yeah. We can't tell you for sure which guitar to look at because that's gonna be person dependent.
I was about to say, think about this. Like, you are normally a Gibson acoustic guy,
Yes.
and I am more, I say Martin, but I really like Taylor sounds too.
Yeah.
Martin and Taylor. To me, a D18 for Martin and for a dreadnought size, and a GS Mini from a Taylor for the small body. Those two realms
Yeah.
are like my bread and butter. But
Yeah.
you are more the Gibson acoustic. You like Martin acoustics too. But
I do. I usually like full dreadnought Martin acoustics though.
Right.
The smaller Martin acoustics don't resonate as much with me for some reason. So yeah, you'll find a camp that you go into, but I just kind of thought it was interesting to look at some of that stuff because sometimes it's hard to walk into a shop and know what to look for whenever you're looking to buy an acoustic guitar because there's so many out there.
Right. And I mean, just like any guitar, not everyone's going to be great even though you're looking for this exact model. When I was helping your wife pick out your J45, I went through a couple.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan, and then we finally got to a guitar. I was like, this is a great one. We need to buy it. So
play a bunch of them because no matter what's said out there, every piece of wood is different and it's going to resonate differently. Maybe some people aren't in that same camp and they think only pickups matter. But how do you say that whenever you're talking about acoustic guitars especially, right? So play a bunch of them because I've played, like you said, the same model guitar, played 4 of them in a row, and all 4 of them are slightly different. I think acoustic would be really hard to buy online.
Really hard.
Yeah. And if so, like we've said many times, get a hold of a reputable dealer, Wildwood, probably Chicago Music Exchange, Gruns, Carter's, some of those guys that are known for having quality stuff, but also have the reputation of being like, this is a good representation of what this, a D28 is supposed to be or what a J45 is supposed to be.
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, if you go Sweetwater or something like that, have it plecked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then also the return policies in some of those places are good. So that does help. But yeah, that's what I would look for whenever I'm shopping for an acoustic guitar.
For sure.
You want to move?